4-acre site here. You notice this on the map here. You are here. If you notice what it was in Washington Bay was an estuary. Okay? We are farming this 4-acre estuary the same way Washington would have farmed roughly 3,200 acres of his 8,000-acre estate. So we are a tiny, tiny demonstration area to showcase what he was doing. Washington, kind of like everybody else, pretty typical Virginian in the 1750s and 60s. He's growing tobacco to make money and doing a pretty good job of it. He's making cash here and there, but all that's going to start to change by the mid-1760s. French Indian War is over with, and if you are a tobacco farmer in Virginia, you feel like you're under attack by the British government. All right? The big problem is the age-old navigation acts of the 1660s have been recalled and have been reinforced, and what that means, if you're a tobacco farmer in Virginia, 100% of your crop, anything, not just tobacco, anything Britain declares to be a luxury, and that's key, anything they declare to be a luxury has got to go to England in exchange for English manufactured goods. Okay? To pile on, you might as well get it all out of the way, you got to ship your product to England or ship sailed by English captain. Alright? Same thing on your goods making the return trip. So if you're Washington, a little upset. One, he's got no control over his product. It's going to be inspected. Tobacco will be inspected here in Virginia, right up the road to Alexandria. It's a quality inspection. Okay, so they say, well, you passed. You're not graded, you're not priced, nothing. It just gets on a ship. It goes across the ocean. Who sets the price of your product? Yeah, conveniently enough. Okay. By the time all is said and done, Washington would write that 8 out of every $10 that should be coming his direction is going into the pockets of business. Whether it's his factor, merchants who are charging, as he says, a pretty high price for pretty average goods. Right? He can't set the price of those goods, nor again to set the price of his own product. So he's losing money, going into debt pretty rapidly, and that's where all of this is going to start to change. That's why all of this area here is down here. Okay, why we think it's important. 1765, he breaks the trend. He does not grow tobacco. He gets out of it almost completely. Okay, he switches his cash crop from tobacco to wheat. Now, the problem with that is advantages are what? By growing wheat, Britain and regulated here. They've got wheat, and they're growing it there. They can get it in Europe, so they're not at all concerned about what you're doing with wheat. The downside to that is wheat making any of the money tobacco did. We all go to the grocery store and we all buy wheat seed, right? Nobody does. And they didn't then. Okay? They wanted to purchase flour, is what they're going for. So as a farmer, Washington's got to do what you have to do today. Take the product that you are manufacturing and growing and add value to it. How do you add value to wheat and turn it into flour? So in 1771, to directly coincide with the decision to ban tobacco a brisk growth. What you find out as you go through it is not just a run-of-the-mill country. It's got a specific set of stones called French burr stones. They came from a rock quarry 35 miles outside of Paris. They turned wheat into superfine white flour, and now Washington's got a pretty expensive product that he can market overseas. Okay? And he does so pretty quickly. 1771, he's shipping flour to the Portuguese. All right? Yeah, everybody has the same, you know, kind of odd. Well, what's he get from Portugal? And this is key to here on out. Sometimes. From a business perspective, what's he getting? Somebody said it.
Slaves.
Money. He's getting money. So Britain's giving you stuff that they set the price of. If you have to come to my grocery store, you have to. It's the law. And I get to tell you how much my groceries are worth, and I get to tell you how much your money's worth. I don't care if you buy a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk, you're not walking out spending $40. Tough. That's the way it is. That's the way the system was. He's starting to get cash money from Portugal. Now he's paying off his debts. He's playing in a system where he just, the rules are stacked against you. Now he's paying cash. Okay, how much is his tobacco worth? Whatever they say. How much is his money worth? It's weight. Yeah.
Why did he choose to sell it to Portugal? Couldn't he sell it in the colonies?
We can't afford it. this
flour?
is
Don't we have to buy flour?
No.
No.
Cornmeal is what you eat in Virginia.
Okay.
Cornmeal is what you consume, or what essentially would amount to whole wheat flour. This is essentially cake flour.
Okay.
And even if, and again, you go to the grocery store today, whole wheat flour is starting to make a comeback, so it's a little more expensive. But find cake flour on the very top row of the shelf. It's a whole lot more expensive than bleached white flour. Okay? So this is a very, very expensive product. And the reason it's going across places like Portugal and southern Italy and Spain, France is going to have their own revolution based on the government was let them eat cake. Okay? So we're talking about, you know, major issues going on in Europe. The wealthy control the farms. They will have no problem. We'll all get together. We're all the top wealthy people in France. We'll burn half of our product. So the other half skyrockets. Washington put it undercut a lot of this value. Like it's over there. So it's got a product that again you can move relatively quickly. And the Europeans are willing to give cash money for it. They've got the money to burn. Whereas here, he's going to have to trade for credit, or you know, he's going to have to trade for things, which again, it's all coming from England. And so he's still operating in that same thing. Okay? Cash gives you buying power because it's worth its weight. And so there's no negotiation for it. In addition, from Portugal, he's getting salt. Salt, which is pretty important to him for curing meats. Ham's a big one. What else? From a business perspective, fish. He's pulling almost 2 million fish out of the river in a 6-week period between April and May. Heads and guts go back on the fields as a fertilizer. Half the fish were salted and kept here to feed the slave population. The other half was salted and sold, and that will make him about 50% of his income yearly. Okay? So we're talking about somebody that knows business. By making that switch from tobacco to wheat, value goes down on wheat. But this building allows him to make money selling flour, and again make about half of his income trading for salt to salt down fish, which he's got in abundance out here in the Potomac. Okay? And so by the time we hit 1775, things are going pretty well. Okay, Washington's already been referred to as the wealthy Virginia planter. So he's not a gentleman. Okay, I think we all can establish that here time and time again. He is not a gentleman, but he is recognized as now, obviously 1775, he gets involved in the American Revolution. It's going to take him away from here for the next 8.5 years. When he comes home, and this is key, when he comes home, what do you think his farms look like? Like you've been calling 8.5 years, right? So that's when this map becomes important. Okay? Now he's got to do two things. Okay? He's got to kind of rebuild his fortune that he lost over the last 8 years. He's also going to have to rework those fields. He's got worn out tobacco land, and it's going to need a little bit of help. Okay? So he's going to start to correspond with anybody and everybody. Okay, listen, Corporation's got any sort of advice that they can give, or any sort of expertise. One of the things Arthur Young in England. And so Washington takes a couple of plans that Arthur Young was going to send him crop rotation plans to make his own little adaptation of the 7-year crop rotation plan, which we'll take a walk through and see as we go through this morning. But that becomes the focus here over the last 15, 16 years of his life, is the new husbandry of the soil, taking care of what you've got and reworking what you've got. And Washington